to the computer because I would love to have it on record. So today we will be looking at something quite important. If you go to our notes, with our notepad, we've actually covered a lot. Quick recap of what we've covered so far. Okay, back. All right, so like I was saying, I was trying to give like a quick recap of what we've done so far. Sorry guys, my network is terrible. But guess we're back. So a quick recap, right? So far so good. We've been able to cover a lot, mostly on the advanced program. We've been able to cover a lot, mostly on the advanced program. Currently we are on excerpts on time and price, plus turtle soup. Okay, so we're going to talk about that in brief as we dive right into today's program. All right, so cool. When we talk about time and price, we are going all the way back to, okay, I think I should just use a notepad for this. I think I should just use a notepad for this. So when we talk about time and price, we are going all the way back to, to the different sessions that we trade. And we are going all the way back to time and price, right? Talks about the logic, okay, the logic behind trading behavior. Okay, at specific, you can say at specific trading sessions. Okay, we can clearly see a different volume in price, a different volume in price movement at, okay, peculiar to each trading session, right? So if that were true, we have the Asian session, okay, which ranges from, you know, the funny thing about Forex is that sticking to the basics is where we actually really get you paid, sticking to the basics. So we have time and price, basically trying to tell us about the volume, what to expect in movement of price delivery, in the way price is going to deliver. What are you going to expect? You know, with what should you expect price, right? That's basically what time and price talks about. So now in Asian session, we have that time from 11 a.m. Okay, we have that time from, okay, let me just say 1 a.m. 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning, or you can say 5 a.m. in the morning. So you have that London session, okay, from that 5 a.m. 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. or some people say 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. So let's just keep it as 5 p.m. 5 a.m. Okay, then we have New York session. We have the New York session ranging from 1 p.m. out. So everything I'm talking about is Nigerian time, right? 1 p.m. Nigerian time to that's 10 p.m. So there's a logic behind how price delivers throughout all of these sessions. And of course, you understand that the common logic here is that the London session and the New York session both have, the most amount of traders. Okay. Okay. So they have the most amount of traders, right? And you tend to understand that the Asian session is usually scanty. The movement of price, the delivery of price is usually scanty in the market. So if the London session and the New York session both have the most amount of traders, hence resulting to large volumes, okay, of price distribution, large volumes. Great. So large volumes of, so for the Asian session, some people like to mix it with the Tokyo session or the Sydney session. Has a more scanty, okay, has a more scanty volume of price delivery. So that brings us to the question of when is the best time to trade, because obviously time works with price delivery. The concept of time and price is basically talking about the fact that there is a particular time for price to deliver, not like it's a holy grail or like it's something that must happen. It's just basically a concept that, okay, at London session, this and this and this is going to happen, which of the pairs are going to be affected. And at New York session, we obviously know that any pair that has to do with the US dollar should have already given or found a bias. Okay. Now, what we get to notice, or personally, what I've gotten to notice about price is that during that New York session, that is from that 1 p.m., we have started seeing a particular market stay solid on their bias. Now, in London session, it might be a little bit shaky. Like, let me come to what's happening currently on the chart. In London session, sometimes you can have a very clean, price. You might have a very clean price action, but just like what is happening in this Euro JPY right now, let me clear all this. You can clearly see that we have not really, this is London session, right? And this is all that has happened this morning. Okay, this starting from here, this was 10 p.m. down to this zone here. So you can see that we've not had any straight movement. In fact, we're just having a series of back and forths happening here. And, this is typical of London session. Because the time I use, right, the time I use is for New York session. That's why you can see it is 4 a.m. right now, New York time. So, yeah, 4 a.m. Yes, 4 a.m. 4 p.m. This is 4 p.m. New York time. It's 4 p.m. New York time. 4, 6. Next 5 hours, it will be 9 p.m. guys, let's not confuse ourselves with this thing right now, but I know that my time, this is my time, this is my time. Oh, this time, but why is this? Why am I not sure of this time? Wait, let's get the time zone correct. Let's get the time zone. Yeah, this is New York time. This is New York time, Jory. Let me see what's the time in case 9 a.m. So this is 4 a.m., Jerry. This is 4:20 a.m. in New York. 4:25, 6, 7, 8. 8 a.m. is the next 4 hours. That is 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. We are correct. So you can see what's been going on this New York time. So we're on this London time. And, it's basically for us to, understand the concept and the logic behind time and price. So you can see that the price is a little bit messy on this chart right here. We've not really settled. And now I'm not trying to say that it is always like this. This is 10 a.m. and this is 2 a.m. Okay. So you can see what's been going on in here. No significant movement all through the Asian session into the New York session. But some things are a bit clear to see though. Like, for example, we had this high here, price retraced and kind of like took this high. So it dropped and has not since, so it's just, ranging. So if we basically take this low, our confluence for these sales will be correct, will be complete, because I already tried buying and it took me out. So, but the concept of time and price is that when the New York session is closing in, like when it's getting closer to the New York session, we tend to see more volume of price in the market, more voluminous distribution in the market. Why? Because we tend to have more traders that are actually trading in the New York time. So if we look at this area right here, we can see price, okay, 8 a.m. Hold on carefully. Okay, this is 2 a.m. 2 a.m. Okay, this happened. Okay, this was yesterday. Okay, yes, this was yesterday when the price was selling down, and then we thought it would continue selling all of a sudden, but just a little confusion. I'm looking for a place where we will have like a proper distribution so that we can understand how price moves per time. Or maybe I can just change, because of this class, let me just change my time to like Nigerian time so that we can be able to look at it together. Okay, look for that West African time. Okay. Good. Okay, so now let's look at that distribution. So this is 8 p.m. No, this is 8 a.m. in the morning. Okay, fantastic. This was so now this is a clear example. Like this happened from this 12 p.m. 12 a.m. and price did its thing in the Asian section from 12 till 5. And then we can see what happened when London session came. Price opened and distributed up until when it distributed up until this was the opening of New York session. Okay, by this 12, and then we had a slight retracement back up at the opening, and then we continued dropping. So now that I just showed us that illustration, it also goes back to say that at each time in time and price work hand in hand to give us that are traders an opportunity to participate in the market. Just like how this Asian session delivered up to this zone for reasons best known to it, because my job is not to know the reason why price is doing what it's doing. My job is just to find my confluences and take my trade. So price got to this level, and close to this level here, we have a weekly rejection, which you can see price has been rejecting from. So this is basically a weekly rejection zone, which also we have a psychological level here. So when price gave us something like this close, this first close and this second close, we knew we were going to drop. So price distributed. Now, when it distributed, during sometime around the New York session, what happened? You see that price bought back up to do what? To maybe come back into this breaker block, or you can call this thing an order block. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Price came back here and did what? Dropped again, giving people another opportunity to be in this trade. So time and price work hand in hand. All right, time and price work hand in hand. So let's look for another example. Let's look for another example. So this was, okay, 10 a.m. Okay, no, this is price. It's in opened somewhere here. Then, okay, sold. Okay, that's not a good example. Now, basically, the reason I'm showing us this thing is just so that we can have it at the back of our mind, right? At the back of our mind whenever we are involved in a trade, okay? So it's not as if it's like a holy grail, but we just need to understand that there is a concept and there's a relationship between time and price and the way that, price delivers. There's a relationship between time and price and the way that price delivers. Okay, so what else do we need to know about it? Okay, so basically it's going to be a logical thing for a trader to say, okay, they want to wait for New York session. Why would you want to wait for New York session before you take your trade? Because you understand that what in New York session we have a volume, we have a lot of traders that are capable of driving price in one direction, and that's exactly what we want to participate in as traders. We want to be able to do what? Join price when it's going to one direction. So on this trade right now, we're just basically waiting to see price move in one direction. We want to join price movement in one direction. So sticking to our confluences, we have our daily level here being rejected, and we have a good sell down candle. Also, we have a psychological level just somewhere around this daily level being rejected. And, we're just waiting for price to basically close below this low to give us a very solid, answer of where it wants to head to. Okay, so all of this we're going to be watching. This is just 9 a.m. Very soon it will be New York session, and by that time we should be able to have a solid bias of where we want to go. But if we look at the dollar index, you can see that the dollar is quite gaining some strength and might keep pushing to the upside. Time and price, time and price, time and price. Okay, then we can see EURUSD bought into this our zone, our sell zone here, and it's just maybe doing some negotiations. So obviously this inducement lows here must go, obviously. So let's see how that goes. But for now, my eyes are on Euro JPY as I expect price to dump into this zone. It's going to be a long one if price honors us and actually goes our way. So time and price, time and price. Now, another thing we need to understand about time and price is that each pair is unique to time. Each pair, like for example, when you come to the Asian session, right? Which pairs belong to the Asian session? We have the JPY index, okay? We have the JPY index. We have anything that has to do with JPY, Euro, JPY, GBP, JPY, AUD, JPY. Okay. Recently, I even saw gold JPY. I was so scared of that pair. JPY is a crazy pair already. You want to add it to gold. It's gonna be so it's gonna blow you away. So we have Euro JPY, AUD JPY, we have what else do we have? We have a lot. Anything that just has to do with JPY is gonna be moving in the Asian session. Now, sometimes in the Asian session we have like crazy moves. Yes, it's normal. In the Asian session, sometimes we're gonna have like crazy moves. So it all depends on the trader to make up their mind. What kind of trader are they? Are they the kind of trader that want to sacrifice their sleep because they want to trade? I mean, some of us have been that desperate, and sometimes you make money, right? But sometimes you don't. So, but it all depends on experience, and it all depends on what you want at a time, because some people stay up all night to make money from the Asian session, and then they end up losing it on London session, and then they end up blowing their account in New York session. So all of these things are funny, but they happen. So as a trader, it's important for you to like have a structure, although it's difficult for you to create a structure and keep to it, but it's important to say, okay, I value my rest. I want to rest throughout the night. I'm not going to look at the chart. I want to sleep, so that when I wake up tomorrow morning, I will be revitalized. I will look at the chart with fresh eyes, and I will have, a bias, a clear bias of what exactly I want to do. Now, trading is not just only about the charts alone. Trading is in direct correlation to your lifestyle, like how you coordinate your life, basically. Yes, trading affects that much. So it's important to understand that what we are doing is we are actually working, and when you're working, it's important to know the place of rest, and it's important to know the place of taking a break. All of these things will add to your outcome, to your results that you're going to get from trading. So yes, in Asian pairs, sometimes Euro JPY, GBP JPY, USD JPY is kicking ass during the Asian session. So sometimes when we catch these trades, it's important to understand that making money from the Asian session is also making money, not to overlook it, cherish it. So yeah, and then when you come to the London session, we have the European pairs. Okay, we have the European pairs, such like we have the euro, we have the pounds, okay, and then we have other pairs that are mixed with it. Okay, euro, GBP, EUR, GBP, yeah, AUD, EUR, AUD, or GBP, AUD, GB. Okay, so you can also say that AUD also is like a mixed pair based on the fact that it has a little bit of Sydney in it, like it has a little bit of midnight session in it. So yes, so trading it with any of these close by pairs like Euro AUD. I don't, is there anything like Euro AUD? Let me check. Yes, of course. There's something like Euro AUD. There are so many pairs to make money from, like so many of them, guys, so many of them. There was one time I looked at this pair. Okay, let me share my screen. There was one time I looked at this pair that I'm looking at right now, and I actually, got a trading signal from this low. From this low, you can see it. Till now, this pair has been buying till now. So the market is more than all this in and out, in and out. And the only way you can get to the understanding that it's bigger than all this in and out and all these things that people have to say, is when you do it for yourself, and when you've decided within your heart that this is what you're going to do. When you've lost your fear of outcome, right? Lost your fear of the outcome because of the number of years you've been in the system. So, right, this was a EURA. You remember, I just checking, right? And this is what it's doing so far. So if you look at this, this was 2 p.m., 10 a.m., 6. Okay. So you can see this kind of volume in the Asian session here, where we have this pair open from 10 a.m. to this over 200 pips delivered even on the Asian session. So AUD is kind of like a Sydney pair. So you should also be treated, maybe if you want to look for something like, if you want to look for like a bias, want to frame a trade on AUD, you should be looking at it around this time. Okay, so now also for the New York session, of course, you already know that it has to do with every pair that has to do with the USD. So USD. So first of all, we have the dollar index. Okay, then we have the GBP USD, like you know, GBP USD, we have the Euro USD, AUD USD, everything, even the CHF, even the USD CHF, even the pairs that have, even the USD card that have USD in front of it, right? All of them serve the same. So you want to look for trade session, you want to see price acting up on, you know, on these guys. You want to see price acting up on these guys. You want to see price doing its best, delivering massive, you know, volume on these particular pairs at these times. Okay, so understanding the concept, understanding this concept and applying it to your charts. Okay, understanding this concept and applying it to your charts is the single difference. You know, it's going to make a difference, not a single difference. It's going to make a difference in the way that you actually, you know, your trades come out. It's going to make a difference in the way that your trades come out. So let's look at more examples. Let's look at more examples like this distribution that happened here, right? So we can see this distribution that happened here. This was 6 p.m., 10 p.m., 2 a.m. So you can see that, you can see from this level here to this level here. Okay. Okay, good. You can see price giving us some kind of distribution here from this level, but look at what happened on Euro JPY. Remember that Euro is a London session pair, JPY is an Asian session pair, but they are closely related. Now see what price did. When it opened, when it started buying from this 10 a.m., it bought and bought and bought. And when it got to 6 a.m., what did it do? It gave kind of like a retracement entry for people to continue in the trade. And then it bought for the whole of the day into the next day. And it continued buying. Crazy, right? But this and many more are the things that, you know, this is just basically understanding, because time and price is going to give you, time is relative to price movement. So here we have 6 a.m., we have 10 a.m. Then price came back in New York session. Price came back in New York session, gave another entry and continued buying. Okay, same thing happened here. 6 a.m. price did its thing, right? And then, okay, this one has to do technical analysis. Price gave an efficient entry and then continued buying. So let's look at what is currently happening at price now. So we had 6 a.m. price sold, 10 a.m. continued selling, 2 a.m., 2 p.m., right? Price came back here and has just been ranging ever since then. That's come taking this high, okay? 2 a.m. price bought to this zone, bought into the New York session as well. Sorry, into the London session as well, which this 4 hours candle is about to close out on, and then it's just, you know, slipping downward. So this long thing candle price did here is kind of like an inducement, and we should expect price to take this inducement, fall into this zone. And then this trade actually, do you know that I saw it since last week? That's why I have this thing here. Like since last week Friday when I opened my chart, I saw what was going to happen. And maybe all price is doing is just gathering all the others it can gather to drop down. Okay, so time and price is very, 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 very effective when it comes to how price. So anytime you want to frame a trade and you want to understand how price books, it's important that you understand which session am I in. This pair that I want to trade right now, is it the time to trade it? Because I cannot be trading AUD JPY in the bloody afternoon when it's New York time. I mean, that pair could as well not even give you any reasonable movement. But you can trade AUD JPY in the night, in the midnight. You can trade NZD JPY in the midnight, but you cannot trade GBP USD in the midnight. Neither can you trade Euro USD in the midnight. So all of these things are what we, are talking about trading USD card in the midnight. It's just funny because those two pairs belong to the New York session. So all of these things are things that we need to understand when it comes to framing our trades. Okay, so of course it all boils down to you understanding market structure and then understanding liquidity draws, and then being able to frame your trade to that regard. So in this regard, actually I'm expecting a drop on Euro JPY. So I'm just going to go ahead and share this with the group as we call it a day. So thank you all so much. But my complete confluence, I want to see price close below this low. If price closes below this low, then we can sell Euro JPY. So that'll be all for now. Thank you all so much for coming on here. Until next time, bye for now.